All right, let us now turn to the Sun Belt Championship game. This one's interesting because Louisiana just absolutely throttled App State in their first meeting, but now Billy Napier is officially the head coach at Florida, or at least 1 foot out the door. So what does that mean now for this team motivationally? It's been a Louisiana team that's won so many games over the last 2 years. They're a veteran team. So are they able to circle the wagons just on a personal level and say, forget about Napier. He took a better opportunity, whatever, as opposed to the Notre Dame situation is fascinating to me because not that Brian Kelly was winning any popularity contest to begin with, but it's clear that they hate the guy's guts, and the fact that that's the way it worked out. I think there's a little bit of a difference in terms of, obviously Napier was not going to be a lifer at Louisiana. And even though it's an emotional thing and the kids had played for him for so long, I think there's got to be a little bit of human nature to understand, you don't turn down the Florida job to coach forever at Louisiana. But with all that being said, how do you see this game playing out? Do you think there's an edge between these two in the rematch?
Yeah, I agree with you where I think it's a totally different situation. For example, here's a free bet for you guys. If Notre Dame somehow sneaks into the playoffs, especially if they're not facing Georgia, I am hammering Notre Dame because I think they're pissed. The Billy Napier situation is different because he officially was announced as the Florida head coach. That's official. But he's there, he's coaching. So it's weird. It's you broke up. It's you get divorced, but you still have to finish out your lease. And your wife's just laying in the house and you're like, so how's your day going? Oh yeah, good. Okay. So I think it's weird. I think his mind's not there. It's natural just to start, I'm sure he's calling Anthony Richardson, begging him not to transfer. He probably has other things going on, whether he'll admit it or not. And I just think App State's a better team anyway. There's only been this Sun Belt Championship since 2018, with last year being canceled. All 3 Sun Belt Championships have been App State versus Louisiana. App State's beaten the Cajuns in 2018 and 2019. They're 8-2 against Louisiana in program history. As you mentioned, Louisiana smoked them 41-13 on October 12th. But Cameron Peoples didn't play, and he's really their biggest weapon. And him and Nate Noel are that dynamic 1-2 punch. Both of them average over 5 yards per carry, 75 yards per game. Peoples leads the entire conference with 13 touchdowns, despite playing just 10 games. And yeah, App State was held to just 78 yards on 29 carries, where Louisiana rushed for 246 yards and 5 touchdowns. But that's not really what these teams have been the whole season. I think that was kind of an outlier and just a case of, one team showing up, the other laying a dud. Throughout the year, Louisiana was 49th in rush defense and 108th in line yards. The App State defense is 8th in rushing success and 2nd in line yards on defense. So App State's defense has been way better against the run. They just got burnt really that one game. Louisiana is 107th in tackling. Mountaineers are 10th. The biggest issue for App State this year is, they had 4 turnovers in that game, 2 fumbles, 2 Chase Brice interceptions, which is obviously a huge issue for Brice. He has 10 interceptions this year on 12 turnover-worthy plays. Whereas Levi Lewis also has 12 turnover-worthy plays, but he just has 4 interceptions. So he has had a little bit of, drop picks, a little bit of luck there. And then on the flip side, Lewis has just 16 big-time throws. Chase Brice is 26. Brice actually is graded as the second best passer in the conference behind Grayson McCall. So I definitely think, I don't like Chase Brice, but he's probably the better quarterback than Levi Lewis, especially, Lewis isn't the type of quarterback where if they're down, he's going to throw them back into the game, where Chase Brice will. He may I'm sure he'll throw a pick or 2, but he also can have them come back if they need to. And Louisiana just doesn't have, they don't have a lot of weapons. They don't have a single player that's averaging more than 30 receiving yards or running back over 70 yards. And in these big games, I'm someone who I want a player that I think is going to take over this game. I want, those championship moments. And who's going to do that on Louisiana? App State has 2 backs over 70 yards. They have 3 receivers averaging over 50 yards per game. Corey Sutton is a stud. I also want to give a special shout out to Thomas Hennigan, who has been there forever. In fact, he has made 63 career starts for App State. That is the most in college football history at any position. He shattered the record. He broke, I think it was 58. He broke it when they played Coastal 6 weeks ago. So he has played every single game in his 5 years at App State. He has started every game but one when he was very injured, but he did come in and play a little bit. So he has started every game in 5 years. He's an absolute workhorse. And as I mentioned, this App State team knows how to win. They're 28 seniors on this team. 14 of them are super seniors. All of them are 2-0 in conference title games. Super seniors have a chance to win their 4th conference title. So I just love the experience of them. I love this. I just think the App State team is better. And then you throw in the Billy Napier, like you said, 1 foot out the door. I just think that, everything lines up here for App State to kind of get, and you have the revenge factor of how many times you think they're watching the clip of, Louisiana running it all over them. This very good defense. I just think it all kind of adds up for me to love App State in this spot.
It's going to have you go through a little thought experiment with me. So I want you to close your eyes. It's the 4th quarter. It is a low scoring game. Let's say it's like 17-17. Chase Brice has the football and he's getting the play from the sideline. He's running, to midfield to get under center. How do you feel emotionally about Chase Brice having your own money in his hands and saying, don't worry, I got this. I'm Chase Brice. I got this. How does that make you feel? What does that evoke for you?
I don't love it, but I think, let's put it this way. If Levi Lewis needs to lead a game-winning drive, I think they're going to throw incomplete passes and turn it over on downs.
Okay.
Chase Brice,
and I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair because all the
Brice
numbers
is either throwing a touchdown or a pick six.
All the numbers you brought up about tackling, about run defense, about line success, all of that, I think it doesn't take that much to talk yourself into a realization that it may have been an aberration, App State's defensive performance in that first matchup. And I will say, Cameron Peoples is not only a productive running back, I think he just gives the whole App State offense a different edge. He's a guy who likes to initiate contact. He's a guy who can wear down teams. And I do think, him being a big part of this game plan does take even more pressure off of Chase Brice, where really in a game like this, it does come down to turnovers. If they can get to a 0 margin or a plus margin in this game, as opposed to their first performance, I do think that takes a lot of the pressure off of Chase Brice's shoulders.
Yeah, and I think he takes pressure off Noel too. I think having them be that 1-2 punch, that thunder lightning kind of backfield. You saw the 2 games, he missed. Noel was not as effective. So I think having both of them in there and given the motivation angle, given Napier flirting with Florida, I think App State bounces back here. Like I said, they've there's these super seniors. This is gonna be their 4th conference title. They know how to do it. They know how to step up in these big games, and I just trust them more, to be honest with you.